everyone, welcome back to another video. So in the intro montage of this episode, I went ahead and reassembled the SC, and I got all of my parts back from Powder, and as always, my buddy Ryan over at Late Apex Performance Coatings did a masterful job getting all of these parts knocked out exactly how I wanted them to be. So I went with wrinkle black just about everywhere, except for the BPA logo, which we did kind of the signature wrinkle black with satin black logo. Looks really clean, really cool, and adds just that little bit of contrast that makes a big difference in a part like that. We also did the same thing over on the catch can, since it has a BPA logo on it as well. And everything came out really nice, really cool, and I'm really excited about it. So you'll also notice that the front end of the car is torn apart, and that is for a very good reason. So over on the table here, my buddy Dave, who you guys did see in the last episode, had his wife Subaru in here, did a straight pipe conversion or built straight pipe modules for it, and we did a labor trade. And in exchange for me doing the work on that car, Dave cleaned up this set of headlights that I got from my buddy Nate. And these look much better than what was on the car previously. SCs are notorious for having the headlights leak and get destroyed over time. And as you guys can clearly see, the factory headlights, or the headlights that have been on the car, fell victim to that. These new headlights are obviously much cleaner, much clearer, and will work much better and make the front end of the car look much nicer as well, sans the destroyed front bumper. Now we have a number of things I want to get done on the SC in this episode, but to start, let's go ahead and get the new headlights put on the front of it and see how everything looks. And I'll have to do a little bit of fabrication to make this happen, as I was aware of this when I got these light housings, but you can see that the upper mounting tabs are broken on both of them, which, not the end of the world. I'll just make some simple little brackets to replace the plastic that is no longer there, and everything will be retained and housed and located exactly where it needs to be. The new light housings look absolutely incredible in the front of the SC. It's a huge step up from what was in there before, And now I'll actually be able to see what's going on in front of the car at night. Now I need to get new bulbs, as I think only one of the headlights works, one of the front turn signals, so on and so forth. The bulbs that have been in here have been kind of beaten, used, and abused, and I'm going to replace all of them, more than likely with LEDs. But the next order of business with this thing is to start playing around with the idle air control valve. So the idle air control valve on a 2JZ is a stepper motor style, and I printed off this sheet right here from Haltech's website, and I found this wiring diagram on Super Forums. So I'm going to use this sheet first, as it's a little bit easier to make my way through it, or for me to make sense of it. But all things considered, hopefully this won't be too bad, and let's see if I can make this work. There we go. Idle motor just made some noise, so that's a good thing. Hopefully it works the way that it's supposed to. Definitely did something. Not exactly what I was looking for. So, let's see. So idle's going crazy as I initially start this. Well, I don't know if I did these settings correctly, but I got the IAC to work. The car was able to maintain a reasonable idle even as it was warming up, but the real telltale won't be until tomorrow morning, when I can come in and the car is cool and I can actually test a cold start and see if it maintains its idle RPM at that point in time. So I'm shooting for right around 1,000 to 1,050 RPM. That's where I'll be happy if it can stay at that point, and hopefully the car will be happy as well. So let's go ahead and check tomorrow morning right now for you guys, and then obviously tomorrow morning for me, and let's see if what I did in the ECU will actually ring true as the car is cold and we do an actual cold start. Well, yesterday I was texting with my buddy Vlad and kind of just exchanging or sending him what I was working on with the IAC on the SC and the funny video clip when the car started running away. And he had a very simple but very brilliant solution for the IAC settings in the ECU. So in Haltech's NSP software, they have base tune files, and one of those is for a 2JZ. So in having the base tune file, it'll have base tune settings for the IAC. And Vlad's suggestion was, hey man, why don't you pull the IAC settings out of the base tune and apply them to the tune that you have in the car? And it was an epiphany moment. And it was one of the moments when you realize that sometimes doing things the hard and roundabout way doesn't make the most sense when the information and the data is already there. So what I need to do is to go into NSP, and no, I do not want to update the firmware, but I need to open up the Supra base file, as well as the tune that's in the SC currently, and move the values and the data over from the base tune to the tune that's in the car, and then we can try to do a cold start on this and see how well those settings actually work. Alright, I'm in the SC now, and there were a number of settings that changed with the Haltech settings versus what I had. So, the ultimate telltale is going to be starting this thing and seeing how it acts. So, let this boot up, and I'll clear out the startup errors this thing will show. Yeah, I know it doesn't have fuel or oil pressure, it is not running. So from here, connect. Write all settings to device, let it do its thing, and then we can give this a shot. There we go, the IAC making noise, and you can see coolant temp 65 degrees, so this is as cold of a cold start as I'll be able to do right now. So fingers crossed this thing works. Let's give it a shot. So far, so good. Let it warm up a little bit and see what the idle does. So we can see it's gradually dropping as we get a little bit of heat in the engine. You can see that we're about 10 degrees over where we initially started. And this is the target RPM chart that will gradually drop down as we achieve the coolant temperature that we see on the x-axis, or the x part of this graph. And that's what the 3D map looks like, for whatever that's worth. So far, so good. You see we're into a lower RPM cell right here. Definitely cool. RPM is sitting in a nice happy spot, and it will continue to gradually drop as we make our way across this map. Now, I may end up raising this a little bit, as I like the car to idle a little bit higher than 800 or 950 RPM, but we're at least on the right track right now, and it seems to be working very nicely. Well, now that the idle tuning seems to be more or less squared away on the SC, it's time to move on to the other projects that I would like to accomplish on it in this episode. The first of which is raising the front ride height, which is pretty self-explanatory. But the second of which is a brake job. And I have the components for the front brake sitting on the cart behind you guys right now. So this is what I have. And what this is a Mark IV Supra twin turbo front brake setup. So we have rotors, we have calipers. Calipers have pads in them, although I'll likely end up swapping these out for other pads. But this brake setup came from my good friend Ryan Jackson. You guys, if you've been around the channel, you've heard me mention him a few times in the past. He's a hell of a guy, good friend, and we spend almost every day kind of texting back and forth, whether it be things with the projects or horrific memes or what have you. But all of that being said, Ryan was kind enough to sell this brake setup to me, and it will be going on the SC now. So I'm going to paint the calipers, as red doesn't really go along with the theme of this car. I'll clean up the rotors, and then get everything put on there, and then the front brakes will be good to go at that point in time. I'll just have to do a rear brake job next. what I'm going to do is keep the NA brakes on the rear of the SC and have turbo brakes up front. That is the same setup that I run on the Mark IV, and the reason for the stagger, if you can call it that, is for this reason right here. So with TT front brakes, you're able to fit a 17-inch skinny and still have all the braking force and everything else, as braking systems generally, or I guess in the case of these cars, depending on how you set up the proportioning valve, more of your braking is going to happen with the front as opposed to the rear. So on the rear, the reason that you run NA rear brakes is to fit a 15-inch wheel. And a 15-inch wheel will allow you to run an actual drag radial or a slick, something along those lines. The point being, the TT front NA rear combination still provides good braking force and good braking ability while allowing you or providing you the opportunity to run a drag pack if you'd ever want to. Now, with the driveline in this car, if I put the Supra's drag pack over on it right now, it would end up destroying everything. But I'm trying to do a little bit of future proofing, as whenever this car receives a 6-speed and a new rear end, the new drive shaft, all of that, I more than likely will end up making a few passes in it, and I want to have the brake set up so it isn't something I have to do later on down the road. Well, good news. Unlike the Aristo brake job, everything has fit on the SC so far, and there haven't been any surprises. But here is what we are looking like with the front brakes. And I know that it kind of just looks like a caliper and rotor right now. Now, I've kind of precariously perched one of the old rotors on the hub here so we can see the actual size difference. And that is quite a bit. If you look across the top edge of the rotor right there, and obviously it's mirrored on all sides, the rotor is much larger. And if I hold up one of the calipers, you can see the big size difference between those two as well. These should make a world of difference in terms of how the car stops and everything along those lines. So let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room, which is, does the wheel fit over top of the brakes? If that does not work, then I'll either need to find new wheels or put the old brakes back on, which neither of those things I really want to do at this point in time. So let's keep our fingers crossed and let's see what happens. All right, so the moment of truth. Hoping this goes well. So, we get the wheel, put her on. It clears a lot of room, actually. Let me throw a couple of lug nuts on here so I can actually step back and look at this. There we go. No contact, nothing crazy, nothing stupid. Everything fits beautifully. Now, I don't have pads in here at this point in time. Those, as well as the rear brakes, are on order from Rock Auto at this point in time. So this is kind of where we're going to end off in regards to the brakes right now, as I can't bleed anything until I have pads, so on and so forth. But everything fits. It's a huge step in the right direction. And like I said, I can't wait to see what this feels like with the new braking setup, and it should be a big difference. So, skipping forward a little bit from the last clip of working on the brakes, but I wanted to play around with the idle settings a little bit more on this thing, as I had been still running into the issue when I would start the car, specifically when it was warm, the car would try to run away, unless I gave it a pretty good throttle blip, which not ideal, not the way that you want it to be. So, what I did, based upon my buddy Bob's suggestion, is I came in here to the base closed loop idle section, and I played around with this map a little bit. So, right now, you can hear the fan, and see coolant temp is 190, and if I start the car, that idle is exactly what I was after. So this may end up taking some more playing around and some more fine-tuning as time goes on, but at least for right now, this is working the way that it needs to work, and I'm much, much happier with this. Well, I think we've reached about the end of what I'll be able to accomplish in this episode. So it was kind of a hodgepodge amalgamation of a variety of different projects on the SC. It's back together with all of its new coated components. The new brakes are on it, or at least the new front brakes. And I made quite a bit of headway with the tuning, specifically the idle tuning, and making the car run and operate correctly. So until the rest of the brake components come in, I can't really make any additional progress on that front. And in order to take the car to get aligned, I need the brakes, so on and so forth. It's kind of a rabbit hole scenario, but I hope you guys understand, and I hope that you still were able to get something out of this video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. So thank you guys, as always, for coming along on all these different journeys and all of these different adventures with me. I'd like to issue huge thank yous to a few of my friends for making what you guys saw in this episode possible. We have my buddy Ryan at Late Apex Performance Coatings for making all of my harebrained creations look beautiful under their coats of powder coat. We have my buddy Dave for getting the headlights knocked out for me and making the front of this car look much better, and making the car much safer in the process, actually being able to see at night with clear housings. And of course, my buddies Vlad and Bob for their assistance and guidance with the tuning portion of this. I'm still very green to the tuning process, but I'm having a blast learning, and it's really cool to be able to see and be able to see numerically the changes that you are making, how they affect the engine, how they affect the car's operation, and what have you. So huge thank you to all those guys. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do, or what you guys saw in this video would not have been possible. But beyond the SC, the next big undertaking and big project will be the Aristo's new engine. I have some really cool plans for it, and I can't wait to take you guys along on that journey with me as well. I really can't wait to get started on it. Things are already in motion for it, and we will get to that in the very, very near future and start building something really cool and really nice for that car. And of course, we have the Supras. The Mark II, still just need to get Bob out here to do some tune work on it. In the Mark IV, the next thing up for it will be going back to the dyno to see if we can set a new dyno record for that car and to see how well the Haltech system works in comparison to the old ECU that it was on before. So we have a lot of things to look forward to, a lot of interesting projects, and a lot of fun to be had that will be upcoming soon, and that's the most important part. But all of that will be in the future. Right now we're done with this episode, so let me stop running my mouth. So as always, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Check out the website for manifolds, for merch, for all things good that way, including my MCB collection. That's the newest merch collection that I have, and there's a variety of apparel and accessory options available in a really cool multicam black colorway. I'm actually wearing one of the beanies right now. So feel free to go on the website, check the MCB collection out, and if any of those items speak to you, feel free to pick them up. And if none of them do speak to you, well, hopefully I offer something in the future that does and that you would like to add to your collection. But with all of that being said, that will be about the end of this one, and I will see you guys in the next episode.